What if what you called the worst moment of your life was your soul's most brilliant strategy? I know that sounds insane, maybe even cruel, but stay with me. I'm not here to tell you everything happens for a reason. That's spiritual bypassing bullshit. I'm not here to minimize your pain or wrap it in pretty ribbons. I'm here to show you something your soul has been whispering that your mind refuses to hear. Something so profound it'll make you question everything you thought you knew about why things fell apart. This isn't a video to make you feel better. This is a message about divine orchestration that will change how you see every wound you've ever carried. By the end of these 15 minutes, you'll understand why your soul chose to break you. And trust me, Layer 4 will shatter everything you thought you knew about your own story. So let's get real about that setup I just mentioned. Some things broke you in ways that don't make sense. Not broke you like a bone that heals, broke you like you lost faith in life itself. Like the fundamental safety you thought existed just vanished. Maybe it was that relationship that didn't just end. It rewrote your entire definition of love. You thought you knew what caring looked like, what commitment meant, what promises were worth. And then, someone you trusted completely showed you that none of it was real, at least not the way you believed it was. Or maybe it was that betrayal that didn't just hurt. It killed your ability to trust, your own judgment, other people, the world itself. You keep wondering, if you couldn't see that coming, what else are you blind to? Or that loss that made you question if there's any meaning to anything. The death that came too soon. The dream that died. The future that got ripped away. And suddenly you're standing in the wreckage, wondering if any of this matters at all. You tried to move on. God, you tried. You read the books. You went to therapy. You tried to find the lesson. You tried to make meaning out of the meaningless. But part of you never did move on. Part of you is still standing in that moment, still asking, why? And I'm not going to insult you by saying you should get over it. That's not how this works. Your soul doesn't speak the language of getting over it. It speaks the language of integration. It doesn't want you to forget. It wants you to remember something deeper. If you're still carrying something that broke your faith in life, you're not broken. You're not stuck. You're not doing this wrong. You're awake to how sacred this all is. You're awake to how much it matters. But here's what's going to blow your mind. What if that breaking wasn't random? What if it was a setup? Here's the setup I'm talking about. Before you were born, your soul looked at the curriculum of being human and said, I want to remember who I am, no matter what it takes. Not I want to be comfortable, not I want everything to go smoothly. I want to remember who I am. And here's what your mind doesn't understand, but your soul absolutely does. The soul doesn't seek comfort. It seeks remembrance. It doesn't avoid pain. It uses pain as a chisel to carve away everything you're not. That absent parent. Your mind calls it abandonment. Your soul calls it learn to be your own source. Stop looking outside yourself for the love that was always inside you. That betrayal that shattered your trust, your mind calls it cruelty. Your soul calls it, stop giving your power away. Stop making other people responsible for your sense of safety in the world. That failure that made you question everything, your mind calls it proof you're not enough. Your soul calls it, who you think you are isn't who you are. Stop trying to be someone else's version of successful. This is going to sound harsh, but I need you to hear it. Stop trying to heal from your trauma. Start asking what your trauma came to heal through you. Because here's what I learned the hard way. I spent years hating the person who shattered my heart. Years. I built entire stories about how cruel they were, how unfair it all was. And then one day it hit me like lightning. My soul hired them. My soul hired them to break me open. They were the perfect teacher for the lesson I couldn't learn any other way. They weren't my enemy. They were my assignment. The assignment I gave myself before I got here. And the craziest part? They played their role perfectly. They broke me exactly the way I needed to be broken, not to destroy me, but to free me from who I was pretending to be. Your soul doesn't make mistakes. Ever. It orchestrates experiences with surgical precision to wake you up to who you really are. But here's where this gets even deeper. Some wounds feel too sacred to call them lessons. Some wounds feel like they're in a category all their own. And this is where we have to go deeper than lessons. Deeper than meaning. Into the sacred. Some things will never make sense. The death that came too soon. The child who didn't make it. The dream that died in your hands. The love that was ripped away just when you thought you were safe. And that's not because they're meaningless. It's because they're sacred. They're too holy for our human minds to wrap around. I'm not going to tell you that devastating loss was meant to teach you something. I'm not going to tell you your illness was a gift. I'm not going to tell you that everything happens for a reason. Some wounds are too holy to reduce to meaning. Some pain is too sacred to package into lessons. But here's what I will tell you. Not all pain is meant to be healed. Some pain is meant to break you open, to crack the shell of who you thought you were, to let something larger move through you. Leonard Cohen said it perfectly. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Wholeness isn't the absence of cracks. It's the light that comes through them. My deepest heartbreak didn't teach me a lesson. It didn't make me stronger. It didn't happen for a reason I could understand. What it did was strip away everything I wasn't. Every pretense. Every false identity. Every way I was trying to be someone other than who I really am. It didn't make me stronger. It made me real. It didn't give me answers. It gave me presence. It didn't heal my wounds. It made my wounds sacred. And maybe that's what some of your wounds are too. Sacred. Not mistakes to be fixed, but cracks where the light comes through. Not problems to be solved, but mysteries to be held. If you're carrying sacred wounds that don't fit into neat spiritual packages, you're not doing it wrong. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're holding mystery. You're holding something too precious for easy answers. You're holding the sacred in human form. But even in the mystery, even in the sacred, there's a pattern. A strange, beautiful intelligence that your mind can't grasp but your heart somehow recognizes. That strange, beautiful intelligence I'm talking about? Here it is. You thought you kept failing the same test over and over. The same relationship patterns. The same self-sabotage. The same fears showing up again and again. But your soul wasn't failing. Your soul was learning in spirals, not straight lines. Look closer at your so-called mistakes. Each one went deeper than the last. That first heartbreak, it cracked you open just enough to feel. The second one, it went deeper, showed you patterns you couldn't see before. The third, it stripped away another layer of who you thought you had to be loved. Each heartbreak cracked you open wider. Each failure stripped away another layer of the false self. Each mistake was actually precision surgery on your soul. Think of it like waves shaping a rock. Constant, persistent, intelligent. Life wasn't punishing you. It was softening what was rigid in you, dissolving what was artificial in you, wearing away everything that wasn't actually you. And the timing was perfect. That relationship that ended when you thought you couldn't survive it, it didn't happen because you weren't good enough. It happened because you were finally strong enough to be alone with who you really are. That job you lost, that felt like the end of the world, it didn't happen because you failed. It happened because you were ready to discover what you were actually meant to do. That door that slammed shut in your face, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Your soul redirecting you towards something your mind couldn't even imagine yet. Your soul has perfect timing. Your mind has perfect panic. Look at your life right now. Really look. What if nothing went wrong? What if every single thing, the good, the bad, the devastating, the beautiful, what if it all went exactly according to a divine plan that you just forgot you wrote? You're not late. You're not behind. You're not off track. You're not missing anything. You're exactly on time for your soul's curriculum. You're exactly where you need to be for the next level of remembering who you are. Every single moment was perfectly orchestrated to bring you to this moment. Reading this, ready to remember. But here's the part that will blow your mind. The part that will blow your mind is this. Looking back now, can you see it? The strange intelligence? The mercy disguised as destruction? I want you to really think about this with me. If that heartbreak didn't happen, would you have ever learned to love yourself? Really love yourself, not just tolerate yourself while waiting for someone else to complete you. If that door didn't close, would you have ever found your real path? Or would you still be settling for something that looked right but felt wrong? If you got what you wanted back then, would you be who you are now? Would you have the depth, the compassion, the understanding you have now? Here's what I'm starting to see. Some of the worst things that happened to you were the kindest answers to prayers you didn't know how to pray. You were praying to be loved, but what you needed was to learn to love yourself. You were praying for success, but what you needed was to discover what success actually meant to you. You were praying for them to stay, but what you needed was to become whole on your own. Your soul conspired with life to give you exactly what you needed to become who you came here to be, even when it looked like everything was falling apart. Especially when it looked like everything was falling apart. The job I lost that devastated me, it forced me to discover what I was actually meant to do, what I was born to do. The person who rejected me, they saved me from settling for someone who couldn't see who I really was. They saved me from a life of pretending to be smaller than I am. It's like your whole life has been this incredibly sophisticated setup, this divine orchestration that your mind couldn't see, but your soul conducted perfectly. Every note exactly where it needed to be, every pause exactly the right length, every crescendo building to this moment of recognition. If you're starting to see the strange kindness behind the chaos, you're remembering. You're remembering the intelligence that's been guiding you all along. You're remembering that you've never been alone. You've never been abandoned. You've been orchestrated. And now comes the most beautiful part. The most beautiful part is this. This life didn't happen to you. It happened for you, through you, because of who your soul knew you could become. And now that you can see it, you can stop fighting your past. You can stop fighting what happened. It's already done its work. It broke the false self. It revealed the real self. It brought you home to who you've always been underneath everything you thought you had to be. So here's what I want you to do. 4 simple acts of sacred surrender. First, write a letter to your past self, the one who was going through the hardest thing, and tell them, I see now what you couldn't see then. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Second, thank one person who hurt you, silently, in your heart. You don't have to call them. You don't have to forgive them for their sake, but thank them for playing their part perfectly. You were the perfect teacher for what I needed to learn. Third, look at your biggest regret and ask, what did this make possible? Who did I become because of this, that I couldn't have become any other way? And fourth, bow to your own story. Not in defeat, but in reverence. Bow to the intelligence that guided every step, even when you couldn't see it. Because forgiveness isn't letting go. It's letting be. It's recognizing that everything that happened was perfectly placed to wake you up. I used to curse my hardest years. The years I was broken. The years I was lost. The years I thought I was falling apart. Now I bow to them. They were the years my soul was doing its deepest work. They were the years I was becoming real. Every wound was a doorway. Every ending was a beginning. Every breaking was a breaking open. Every destruction was actually construction, constructing the real you underneath all the masks. Look at yourself right now. Really look. You are the living proof that nothing was wasted. Not one moment, not one tear, not one wound. Every single piece of your story, the beautiful parts and the parts that nearly broke you, they're all here in who you've become. Your life isn't a rough draft. It's not a series of mistakes you're trying to fix. It's a masterpiece painted by the most intelligent artist you've never met but somehow trust completely. An artist who knew exactly what colors were needed, exactly when the canvas needed to be scraped raw, exactly when to add the light. Your soul doesn't speak English or any human language. It speaks orchestration. It speaks through synchronicity, through chaos, through breaking, through healing. And now you remember the language. Now you can hear the symphony that's been playing your whole life. If this stirred something ancient in you, you're not alone. Comment below. What did life orchestrate in your story that you now bow to? Let's build a community of people who see the sacred intelligence in their own chaos. Next week, we're going deeper. Why your soul chose your exact family. The pre-birth agreements you forgot. You're not going to want to miss this. Remember, your mistakes are not evidence that you're lost. They're evidence that you're exactly where your soul intended. You're not broken. You never were. You're just becoming.